Hi everybody, I'm amending this painting video because I made a discovery after I painted it, and it's unfortunate, but Rust-Oleum apparently either changed their formula or it just doesn't stick to the aircraft grade aluminum that Thermodyne uses. It also had a problem sticking to the brackets. So I had to soak the brackets, or soak the pieces, in a mild solution of lye and water. Unfortunately, it was left out in the sun and it etched it a little bit, but that's okay because you want to etch this. What you're going to need to do is sand it or use a scuff pad, something like that. Paint it with self-etching primer and then paint it with your color. And the rest of the video will just show you about painting in between pieces and everything. Here's my bracket. It's been taken apart. It's partially primed. I got to finish it, and that's pretty much the amendment to this. Remember, you want to sand this. Use it doesn't matter because it's going to be up in the air. Sand it, and then use the etching primer. It's Rust-Oleum self-etching primer. And put a thin coat on there and then use your desired color. Thanks everybody, my apologies. Hello everybody, the Wind Turbine King here. I want to talk about how to prepare and paint your Thermodyne wind turbine before assembly. The reason why you want to paint everything before you put it together is when you have two pieces of steel together like this, moisture can get behind it and you start having streaks of rust similar to what you'd see on a big boat or a ship. Well, we want to try to prevent that as much as possible. When these parts are cut, they use machine oil and to keep the pieces from rusting, and so they can slide around on the machine. So they sometimes have a coat of oil on them, sometimes they don't. These particular pieces feel like they're all dry. These are plated with cadmium plating. You really don't need to paint it, but for consistency and so everything would look right and the same, it's probably a good idea to paint it, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. To start with, in this bracket, I've already taped this off. On a 2-wire system, and a 3-wire system, a ground is made through here. I've already pre-taped this one. You want to tape the other one before you go and put your paint on it. Now, using some acetone, which you can get in Lowe's, Home Depot, just about any hardware store. I use a lot of it, so I buy it in a gallon, but you can get it in quarts. You want to wet a rag and wipe your pieces off, just like this. What this does is it'll take all that machining oil off, and incidentally, acetone will get to your gloves. So if you're going to wear anything, you might wear a rubber glove. You can see what I took off of that already. You might want to wear a rubber glove and then put a good quality cloth glove over it if you don't want to get this on your hands, but it won't hurt you. So you wipe off all these pieces, and the reason you do this is so the paint won't come off and it'll stick. And make sure you get everything and in the corners too. There we go, there's 2. Now it'll evaporate pretty quick. Acetone is safe. It's not a carcinogen, and I guess I better flip that over. It's getting pretty dirty. The only thing it'll do is dry your hands out, so you just take a little bit of hand lotion and put it on when you're done, because your skin will turn white. You might be able to see it already. Get into the corners here. Okay. Try to do your edges too, because that's just as important. These are stamped, and the edges are not sharp, so there's little risk of you cutting yourself on them. So these are quality cut, and they're cut with some thought and purpose behind them. These are the hardest parts. That's why I'm doing them first. Okay, those are the tail rails. I'll spin my sock around again. These are the sleeves that go behind the PMA, or the wind turbine generator itself, to the bracket. These are just rolled pieces of steel, so you want to try to make sure they're clean, and we didn't get much off of that. This is the hub. It's made of a low carbon steel. It's not going to rust a lot, but it's sure going to be a lot prettier if it's you know, they're all one color. This piece here is for the roller assembly, which is an option. The roller assembly lets your turbine spin freer and easier. Give you a quick spin here inside on the edges. Then we get the bracket here. Make sure we get everything off there. Chances are this bracket does not have anything on it, because it's been plated, which means when they plated it, they had to wash the part to get any oil off of it first. Get all the edges. Make sure I get down to the corners here. Acetone will also etch a little bit. It won't do that much edging on the metal, but it does open it up a little bit. I'm just going to collapse this a little bit to make it easier to paint. There we go. And then we have the tail fin. Now this particular tail fin is made of aluminum. Bright and shiny, but do you want to look at that bright and shiny on your roof when you've got the rest of your parts all nice and gray, or whatever color you choose? I'm going to choose gray because I bought the Rust-Oleum. They didn't have a blue, but you can get Rust-Oleum in just about any color. A powder blue looks good, and a gray looks good. Now today we're only going to be able to paint one side at a time, but you'll get the idea. So what you're going to want to do is paint, and then let it dry, and then tomorrow come out and paint again. Okay, we're going to move that out of the way. This is what I'm using. Lowe's, Home Depot, just about any hardware store has this. Rust-Oleum was pretty much the best one out there. There's a couple other ones, but they're all about the same. Best suggestion is don't skimp on your quality when you buy this stuff. I've already pre-shaken this can. I'll get this out of the way. Real simple. I'll start on the tail fin. I'm not going to waste your time on showing you how to paint, but you want to keep your spray can about 6-8 inches away. Make sure you get your edges. And then tomorrow when you flip it over, you can repaint your edges again. Paint this. Get the edges, get inside the little holes. And remember, you're painting one way. When you flip the piece over, rotate the piece so that you're sure that you get all the edges. You want to spin the piece around like that because the spray doesn't get into there. There you go. See? You don't need a lot, but you want even coats. So make sure your coats are even and everything is covered, because once winter comes, moisture can get underneath there if you're not completely covered, and it could heave the paint. Oops, darn, I didn't want to do that. Okay, well, you got the idea. I'll skip that for now so I don't waste your time. And of course your rails. Now, if you see the paint kind of like bundle up anywhere, which it's not doing here, kind of look like it's spreading out, that's a spot that you missed with the acetone. Darn you. You're going to want to wipe that spot off again. I don't seem to have it here. Everything is nice and smooth and flat. If you want to second coat it, that's a good idea. That's probably an excellent idea. These little guys here, if you want to stand them up on something, you can. You don't want to paint the bolts because the bolts make ground, just like it makes a ground in here. Now I'll have to take a rag and wipe that overspray out of there, but the ground is made through here and here on a 2-wire system to your pole. It's also grounding for the 3-wire system so that you can actually lightning ground it. You can connect it to a lightning rod. And that should just about cover the right way of painting your PMA mounting brackets. The next we'll talk about is painting the PMA itself, and we're going to talk about wiring, connecting your wires with the solder method, which is the best method, and some shrink wrap, the size of the wire you should be using. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things on the assembly of this, but for right now, the reason you're painting this, and I'll remind you, is so that when you put those two pieces together, they won't rust behind it because the moisture won't get back there and cause the metal to rust. Let's face it, I'm lazy. I don't want to be going up on my roof every year and messing around with my wind turbine. I just want to put it up there as I have in the past and leave it there and let it make me some money. Thanks, everybody. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.